So hello everyone, how you doing today? If you're like me and my clients, you've been using Windows 10, well, a long time. And the fact that they've now end of lifed it, here we are, October, 5 days ago, it was end of lifed. And well, it's, to put it mildly, it's stressful, right? Especially when you get the operating system just the way you want it. And then Microsoft now comes along and tells you not only do we have a new operating system, but we're going to kind of force you to use it. Well, today it's about giving Microsoft the big. So, no more forced upgrades to Windows 11, no more AI crap that they tend to put on there. Your privacy is quite a bit better on Windows 10, and frankly, there's no reason you shouldn't be allowed to keep using it, other than the fact that if you don't have security updates, it's kind of, Russian roulette on the internet. I wouldn't recommend it. That would lead to a bad day for you. Now, today I'm going to show you a simple, legal way to run Windows 10, keep it safely running until 2032, and with better privacy than ever. Now, this magical product is called Windows 10 Enterprise IoT LTSC. That's a mouthful. For those of you that weren't paying attention, on October 14, 2025, Microsoft officially ended support for Windows 10, Home, Pro, etc. Now, that's when the regular Windows 10 stops getting security patches, which are critical to you staying safe on the internet. And in effect, your PC becomes vulnerable to viruses, malware, and plus Microsoft pushes Windows 11, which requires new hardware. Maybe you can't afford it. I mean, you may have a 2 or 3 year old machine that's perfectly capable of running Windows, but you don't want to go to Windows 11, or maybe you don't have TPM2. Maybe you don't have the right CPU, but it's running fine. And the other thing is Windows 11 now collects more data about you than any other operating system before or since. What can I say? So what is Windows 10 Internet of Things LTSC Enterprise exactly? Well, it's basically Windows 10, but without all the fluff. In fact, some of the fluff it leaves out you may miss later, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. It's made specifically for businesses and devices like, ATM machines, that kind of thing. That's a bad example. But devices that need to run Windows without interruption. Now, some of the key differences from Windows 10 Pro are no automatic data collection, no forced updates. You choose when you install your updates. It's got the same look and feel as Windows 10 always has, and it's free to download from Microsoft. Now, keep in mind, this is not a hack. It's official, and it's perfect for everyday use. Or if you have privacy concerns like I'm really starting to have about Microsoft. So what I've done is create a little chart. So let's take a look at it, and we'll look at the pros and cons side by side and compare it to your current Windows 10 Pro, and I'll just keep it as straightforward as I can. So privacy, no telemetry. They collect zero data. No account login required, no Microsoft account. Blocks tracking by default. Keep in mind, this version is made for the enterprise, where we have compliance issues. We're not allowed to share your information or the company information across the internet. As far as security goes, you get updates till 2032. That's 7 more years, right? No forced upgrades. Okay. Now, it is an enterprise edition, but it's free for home use. Well, with some catches. You're going to have to go out and get a license for it. And the performance, they say it's faster boot times, 10 to 15 seconds, uses 30% less RAM, and it's a smoother for browsing in Office. One of the downsides is there's no built-in Microsoft Store. Now, that doesn't mean you can't run it. Now, another downside is if you're using Windows 10 now, there is no direct upgrade path to Windows 10 Internet of Things Enterprise LTSC. It's a cotton picking mouthful. You will have to do a clean load. So, there are some drawbacks. But, like I said, it gets updates up until 2032. And you can overcome the store issue. You can install all that stuff add-on later. You get a higher frame rate per second in games. Yeah, they claim. We'll see. With no update interruptions again, so nothing work. There is nothing worse than an update in the middle of a gaming session. A con, no Xbox app. Steam works just fine, and you'll see that here in a minute. The ease of use is the same as Windows 10. There's nothing new to learn. It installs in about 5 minutes. And the cost is not completely free. Nothing in life is. If you want to be legitimate, you're going to need to get the source files from Microsoft. Just go out and do Windows 10 Enterprise IoT. There's a link. If I can remember it, I'll put it down in the notes, down at the bottom of the video. But if not, just go out and do a web search. You'll find the ISO file. And you can get it, I believe, as an evaluation. And then you go to one of these key vendors online like AnyKeys or WhoKeys, and you'll get a license for the enterprise version of Windows 10. They're freely available out there. They're anywhere between 15 and 25 bucks. And they're legit, and you can activate Windows with it, and then you're flowing on free till 2032. Now, my whole take on this issue is for most people, the pros far outweigh the cons. If you are dead set against going to Windows 11, and I know a lot of you are, this is an option for you. You get maximum privacy, peace of mind, past the end of life date, and if you're gaming, that's a nice bonus. Gaming works really well under Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC. Now, I've said this before, but this is geared toward the enterprise, which is small and medium and large businesses, right? They have compliance issues. They're not allowed to leak personal information onto the internet or the interwebs or whatever in order to run on government systems and that kind of thing. So one of the things enterprise version does, and IoT especially, is it strips all this additional crap on there like weather and calculator. You can add all these apps later if you want to. But the big thing is privacy is why most people choose this. And here's what that means for you. In regular Windows 10 Pro, Microsoft and Home, Microsoft collects your app usage, your location data, and even keystrokes, and sometimes screenshots if you're on Windows 11 in the name of improvements. Now, with IoT LTSC, zero data is sent, and you can check that by yourself with privacy tools if you need to. There's no pop-up ads or suggestions. And the Windows log files go from 5 to 600 meg down to 0. Your email, your photos, your browsing, they stay on your PC. It's as simple as that. Now, if you're into gaming, I'm not, but if you're a casual gamer, well, you're about to see the results I get from gaming on here. Now, keep in mind, I'm no big gamer at all. My idea of a good time is Age of Empires, okay, and Civilization. So I'm not a first-person shooter kind of guy. But I have taken done some tests on this unit running Windows 10, Internet of Things, long-term support channel with a halfway decent video card in it. And we'll let them speak for themselves. All right, boys and girls, we have Windows 10 up and running. And as you can see, I'm remote desktoped into the unit. So let me show you what I did to get here. So if you could just come over here to Settings and go to System, a couple of things. Go to About. And then right here, you can rename the PC. That's what I did. I gave it the name of T1700-Gaming 1. And then the other thing you can do while you're here is come down to Remote Desktop, flip that on, and then reboot the machine, and you'll be able to connect up to it remotely. Now, the other thing it warns you about is keep my PC awake for connections when it's plugged in. Let me click on Show Settings, and the screen I'm going to put to sleep after 30 minutes, but the PC is never going to go to sleep. It's very important on Windows 10 that you do that. Now, What version of Windows 10 are we running? Well, let's find out. We'll go back to settings, system, about, and you can see here we're running Windows 10 Enterprise LTSC, IoT, Internet of Things. That's what it means. It is a very, very stripped down version of Windows. In fact, most of what you normally would see in Windows, you're not going to see in Windows here. And my theory on that is you don't know what you need till you need it, right? So I would rather have an operating system without having something loaded on there that I'm not sure if I need or not, if that makes any sense at all. The dog thinks I'm crazy. So if we come home and we go here to apps, you're going to see we don't have very many apps installed. It's installed the Intel graphics driver for the onboard video and Microsoft Edge. And folks, that's about it. And that really is the beauty of using something like Windows 10 long-term support, Internet of Things, or even Windows 11. You have nothing on there to get in your way. In fact, the computer will just, it'll just kind of work. And it'll work pretty quick. And it has very low overhead. It's only using about 1.8 gigabytes of RAM just to run. That's about what Linux runs. And let's face it, Linux is just not ready for the desktop. It's just not there. Don't think it ever will be. So this is a lesser of two evils. Running Windows 10 and staying on it as long as you can. So if you're really paranoid and afraid and scared, I don't even think that's the right word. That's not a good way to word this. If you're paralyzed by mistrust of Microsoft, then this is probably the video for you. So we're just going to do a gaming machine. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go activate my copy of Windows 10 Pro. And I'm going to do that legally with a legal license. So I'm not going to tell you where to find it or how to find it. You can go out and look and go to pretty much any of the software keys online and get an OEM copy, or don't get an OEM copy, but get an LTSC IoT license. You just have to look around for it. The other thing is you can get these ISOs directly from Microsoft or from internetarchive.org. I would recommend getting the ISO from one of those two locations, preferably Microsoft, if you're really paranoid. That way you'll know it's not laden with crap. And you can even get the evaluation version, and there are ways to upgrade that to the non-eval version and put a license on it. So I'm going to go get Windows activated, and then we'll come back. So now that we're activated, one thing I did do is come up here to Windows Accessories. I'm sorry, Windows Admin Tools. No, sorry. Ease of Access. No. System. No. There it is. So Windows System, and I right-click on File Explorer, and I pin that to the start so that I have a File Explorer icon here. That's a good thing to have. Now what I need to do is I need to load the software to do gaming on this machine. I also don't see my SSD drive, my 6 terabyte, or I'm sorry, my spinning Rust drive. That's weird. So let's go to disk management, see if it's in there. It maybe it just doesn't know. Yeah, there it is. Games. So we'll change the drive letter. Give it drive letter G for games. And then it should appear under here. And yeah, here's all of our games. So we haven't lost anything. That's good. Good. All right. So we do need to load Steam. So what we need to do now is load the video card. We need to go put the video card in it. We need to load the drivers required. We need to then load the apps on here that we're going to use, the Steam app, the overlay for the video card to give me the frames per second, all that good stuff, and find a new theme or background for this. And okay, so let me cut and go do that. So I'm downloading running some Intel chipset drivers from Dell. I told it to run. And usually these drivers run in the background, and yeah, there it is. It doesn't tell you what it's doing. It's installing the INF files. So there's one category. Now, the other thing I want to do is get audio drivers. We'll download that. There's a PCI communications device in here. I don't know what it is, but I think once I install the INF drivers, it'll be okay. Network, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. We'll run this. So this should install all the base INF drivers that we're going to need. Yep, looks like it's adding all the PCI Express controllers and yada yada. And yeah, we want to restart. All right, so we did the driver, INF driver, we rebooted. Let's go to device manager and see how we're doing. And it looks like we don't have any unknown device drivers. Let's see if the sound is working. Oh yeah, it's working. See the sound drivers. And I got to remember I'm on Windows 10 because, you know, different drivers. I'm going to agree to that. Okay, GeForce, and these are going to be the GTX 16 series or GeForce 16 series. Mine is the 1650. Windows 10 64-bit. Let's start the search. Let's see how new this driver is. So they got a driver out from October the 14th, which is 4 days ago. So that's a studio driver. The Game Ready driver is also from October the 14th. So let's download it. All right, so we've survived a reboot, and I believe we got the NVIDIA drivers loaded now. So just go here to NVIDIA. Go to the control panel, agree and continue. And then, yes, we have the newest driver. Woohoo! So now let's go see if there's any updates available. Because it wouldn't be a Windows operating system without updates, right? Let's go ahead and check for updates and see what we see. And there are some updates, and there are even some optional updates. So looks like it's going to do a Defender update, software removal tool, cumulative update for Net Framework, update for Windows 10 21H2, and Net Framework 4.8 3.5 again, and then a Intel driver update for the Intel Ethernet connection. And of course, it's loading that driver right now because we just lost connectivity, and it should come back here in a moment. Yes, it does. So it's evidently, hopefully installed that one. All right, well, you don't need to sit here and watch this. I just wanted you to see that the first thing I do after I install any operating system is go out and get all the updates. Let's get them out of the way. All right, we have installed those updates. We've done a reboot, and everything appears to be coming back up. And just first impressions, it seems a little slower than it was before this last update, but welcome to the wonderful world of Microsoft. Could just be my, usually you get a sense of these things, but updates do slow Windows down because they find things they need to, fix and do. And let's see what driver updates. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if we ought to do all these or not. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do them all. And the ones that don't work, well, they'll fail. But let's just go ahead and do them all. Why not? I love to live dangerously. I'm sure it'll cut me off here. Yeah, like closed update. Is it going to reboot? Yeah, I appear to have lost connectivity because I can't move anything around. So we'll see if it'll reconnect. Now, this is the danger of doing updates remotely, but if you just wait it out till the new driver loads, it should reestablish the connection, and I'll be darned, it did it. So I think the one thing that moved me onto Windows 11 from Windows 10 was File Explorer and the interface. They just kind of really cleaned it up and made File Explorer so much better. And that's where, honestly, I spent a lot of my time is moving files around. So for me, I enjoyed the update experience and the new interface on Windows 11, but I know I'll get a lot of pushback from a lot of people on that, but that's just my personal opinion. None of that matters. Now, it says it's done the updates and it wants to restart. So I'm going to go ahead and do the restart, and then we'll come back and see what's left. All right, so like I said, I'm not much of a gamer, but I can run the heck out of benchmarks. So this is times by night in, I don't know. It'll appear on the screen, but I got really good frame rates on this. Not surprising with that video card I got in there. I think the bottleneck on this machine for gaming is always going to be that quad-core i5 4690 CPU. And this benchmark is rather old, I believe. Back from around the time maybe this machine was made? I don't know, I could be wrong. Here's the thing with these Dell Dimensions and Optiplex machines that you get off of leases or from other companies. They never die. They just seem to be built like tanks, and still put Windows 10 on it like we've done, and we get these kind of scores. What is it? 23,520, which is, I guess, excellent, whatever that means. And that that demo was called Night Raid. And now we're going to do Far Cry 5, I believe. And again, like I said, I'm not much of a gamer, so I just kind of let these things run and just kind of admire the graphics and the audio and that kind of thing, and just enjoy the visuals. Not much of a first-person shooter gamer, although I would love to. What I used to do with my nephews when they were younger and still played games was I'd sit around and watch them play their games. We'd have Friday night and Saturday night game night. I had a big projector in here and like a 120-inch screen in my office, and we'd sit here and I'd watch them play video games from the time they were in their early teens until they grew up and got families of their own. So a lot of fond memories, because I just don't excel at these games. They're just totally wasted on me. Yeah, but there's the score for Far Cry. I don't know what the next one is, but I'll just stick here with you. We'll chat some more. So yeah, Windows 10. Okay, Grand Theft Auto. So yeah, Windows 10 LTSC IoT for the win, folks. If you're concerned about your privacy moving forward, and frankly, just to be honest with you, if you're not going to run Windows 11, and I haven't confirmed that it is as free from spyware and sending your information back to Microsoft as Windows 10 Enterprise IoT LTSC is, I'll reserve my judgment on Windows 11. But the deal with when you're dealing with clients out in the real world, commercial clients, they have certain requirements that are placed on them if they're doing business with other companies, state organizations, federal organizations, and they have to adhere to these rules. And so Windows 11 Pro and higher should be adhering to those rules, but they may get away with it because Pro a lot of times is used by end users, home users, professionals, and not necessarily just at a company. So they might be able to get away with claiming that, oh well, we still spy on you in Pro. And so Windows 10 may be your last bastion of defense before you go over to something as drastic as Linux. And let's just be honest, folks. Linux is great, but it ain't ready for the desktop. In fact, there is no desktop for Linux. There's lots of different desktops, and nobody can seem to settle on one moving forward. Uh, that and they've I don't know. It's just it's like the Linux community is splintered the last few years, and a lot of crazy people out there, and you got to watch out for that. But anyway, there's a lot of crazy people at Microsoft too, I'm sure. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Linux on the desktop. I've heard this for the last 20, 30 years. This is the year of Linux on the desktop, and you know what? It never comes ever. And I eat my own dog food. I had a whole series of videos on this channel 4 or 5 years ago of me trying to move to Linux, and it just wasn't feasible. And I frankly don't think it's any better now. On the desktop, when I say Linux is not ready, servers and for special purpose and labs. Oh man, it's great. In fact, I run a lot of Linux for clients of mine because it's specifically suited for a task where the only time I run a Windows server is usually when we need Active Directory, that kind of thing. Boom. Yeah, it's going to blow up now. Woohoo! And there you go. And then my favorite Marvel Rivals that I'll never be able to play. And this one was kind of interesting because you're going to notice immediately. Now, it took forever to get past that first loading screen. It was like 5-6 minutes it took to load. I don't know if that's because I have spinning rust or what. And then you're going to see in this video, I think the problem is the CPU is being bottlenecked. Or it could be slow RAM. But the video card shouldn't be I would think, the sticking point for this, although it may be. I don't know how this game functions exactly. But not bad. I mean, this would be playable by someone like me, but, if you're depending on, a speedier interface, yeah, this is not going to do it. And this game really is not geared for hardware this old. You should have it on modern, a modern Intel or AMD chip, and to get the best performance out of it. But still not bad for a machine that's got a processor that's no longer supported by Microsoft, eh? And again, pay close attention. You're going to see it hang up here in a minute, usually between switching scenes, and then sometimes in the middle of the battle it'll just kind of, like right there, it just kind of stops. So be aware, not the end-all be-all gaming machine, but for most of your needs, you should be able to get by with this. And don't forget, you got 6 gig of RAM on this video card. You could, in theory, run LM Studio on here and utilize that video card RAM as a small LLM machine. So once you get it installed, that's it. I mean, it lets you keep what you love. If you like Windows 10, stay on it until 2032. There's that big sky is falling kind of thing. Oh, certain apps may not run on. Yeah, that's true. Apps may not run on it, but more than likely, since there's a version that Microsoft is supporting for 10 more years, or till 2032, then chances are the application vendors and driver vendors are going to continue to support Windows 10 at least until the security updates run out. And it's because of businesses. Businesses are going to continue to run Windows 10 if they're on this IoT LTSC program. And a lot of companies I know are. So it's not going anywhere. It gives you a chance to transition then on your terms to Windows 11, if at all. Now we're going to have a video coming up about Windows 11 Internet of Things LTSC as well. So you got that to look forward to. Now, I'm going to be frank with you. It's not often that I speak out about things like this, but Microsoft's really starting to piss me off because I've run across a couple of videos on the YouTubes, and if they're true, and I have no reason to doubt they are, I'm trusting, but I'm verifying the data that I've been giving. Microsoft is creating hidden files on Windows 11 with screenshot information, keyboard capture information, and whatnot, and they're sending that back to their central servers. Now, they're not supposed to be doing that without your approval. So what I want to do is I want to see if we've got the same problem with Windows 11 LTSC Enterprise and Windows 11 IoT long-term support. Now that I know what to look for and where to look, I'll be able to report back to you and tell you if those rumors have any glint or glimmer of truth to them or not. Again, the sky is not falling. Windows 10 is not end of life if you know a few tricks and tips. And if you get stuck or you get lost, just put a question down here in the comments section. I'm sure somebody will be able to help you, if not myself. Now, I'm so paranoid about what Microsoft, especially with Windows 11, is doing, that I'm going to be converting my own everyday driver here to the Enterprise LTSC Internet of Things version of Windows 11. And it's not an easy undertaking, folks. I got a lot of stuff that I got to remember. I got a lot of passwords on this machine and passkeys. I got to take all that into account before I change my version, because there is no way to go from Windows 11 Pro, which is what I'm running now, to take it to Windows 11 Enterprise LTSC Internet of Things. But it is what it is, right? So that's it. Windows 10 Internet of Things long-term support channel. Let you keep what you love if you love Windows 10. You get much better privacy, and you get security updates until 2032. So no stress and no big changes other than having to back everything up and clean load your machine. But you should be doing that anyway. Now, I did this on the Dell T17 Dimension. There's a 3021 Optiplex. It's very similar to this Dell. And why end of life these machines? They're plenty fast. It's only an i5 4690 CPU in here, but it's got 16 gig RAM. You threw an SSD in there and a spinning hard drive, and you got a gaming machine that'll play probably 90% of what's out there as far as gaming goes. So, and we'll build on this machine running Windows 10. I've got some, if you're into retro gaming, we're going to do a video on that as well. So we hope you found the video entertaining and informative as always. Please click the thumbs up, give us a like or a dislike if you didn't like it. Leave your comments down in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come out. And thanks again for coming to see us. And don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.
I've been watching old Unky Joe. From Texas heat to where the cacti grow. Fixing server solar power in the land. Hoping that his plans all stand. Making life a touch more bright underneath those southern lights.